Welcome to John McGivern's Main Streets, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of this popular TV program.
Sometimes I think my job is so hard.
You'll hear John and his producer Lois Maurer on the drive home as they chat about their impressions of the community and share interesting stories that you may not hear about anywhere else. Today's episode, the Indiana Dunes.
The Indiana Dunes. Who knew? I've never been there. I had not been there before.
Have you been to Dunes before, though?
No, I guess not really, because like Terry Andre up in Milwaukee, north of Milwaukee, is all I think of.
Yeah, no.
That's sandy, but not even close to what we just experienced.
So I lived in Cape Cod. I lived in Provincetown, and they have dunes that were very similar to what we spent our time in Indiana.
Well, the first day that we got to the area, we spent it in Chesterton. Chesterton is a town that has a main street that is adorable. And I said to you, John, have you ever watched the Gilmore Girls? Because anybody that's familiar with that show would think, oh, this is Stars Hollow.
Okay.
It's got a gazebo, got a diner next to a barber shop, next to a tap, you know?
Yeah.
It's a really cute town. Very authentic.
And we spent our first interviewing Laura at the Red Cup Cafe.
Oh,
or coffee shop, right?
Love me some Laura. That is one entertaining woman, don't you think?
So did you work here before?
I did. I worked here for about a year before and loved what I was doing. I'd never been in food service before, but well, except for, feeding my kids and my family.
Which is food service.
It really is. Yeah, it's thankless, really.
Right. This is more thankful.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So the pandemic didn't just do bad things. It did some good things. Like in Laura's case, she fed half of Chesterton, I think. She really kind of opened a soup kitchen the entire length of the pandemic. And then during the pandemic, she also had time to then paint her place and fix things up. And so she said, it wasn't all bad. It wasn't all bad. But her business suffered like crazy.
Oh, she said she doesn't have much money, but what money she has, she made soup and gave it to everybody who needed it.
Yeah, that tells you everything you need to know about Laura.
Yeah.
She's pretty awesome.
I liked her.
This trip, I will tell you, this trip's weather. We got to the dunes, it was like 94 and humid.
Oh.
The day we climbed Diana Dune, which, by the way, I had no intention for you to climb that dune, John.
I think you wanted me to.
And we sent Bob and Kevin ahead to do the dune to shoot all the B-roll and everything. And I really thought we were just going to do the thing where you go up like halfway and then come back down to us.
Oh, why did I feel pressure?
You said to me, no, I'm doing it. So I was like, was it Ranger Joe? Did he put the screws to you? It wasn't me.
He was infectious.
Yes. His energy and his
excitement.
Charm. Yes.
I have never been so excited looking at a plant in my whole life. And an ecosystem that really shouldn't have been in this area, and he was into it.
But Diana's Dune is on the west end of the national park by West Beach. And it is well maintained because they have these walkways all over it. And you climb up, what did he say, 175 stairs?
Right.
And then it's not just like you climb back down. Around the back side of it, you go down, and then you go up, and then you go around, and then you finally end up at Lake Michigan.
It's 1.3 miles.
It was very cool, and it was very well explained by Joe, who even brought examples in his backpack. He's the first guy we've interviewed that said, do you want my props? Do you want me to show you my props?
Yeah.
We were like, wait, what?
Diana, whose real name was what?
Alice,
who she left Chicago to go and live in the dunes, and all she brought was a blanket and a jelly jar, a knife, and a fork. And a plate, I guess. I'm like, wow.
And she was super accomplished, right? She was well educated, highly educated. She was an attorney. And we're talking about, when are we talking about, the 1930s?
No, not teens.
Oh, the teens.
She died in she died in the 30s, I think.
Okay. So she was a younger woman, and she just decided, you know what? I'm going to live in the dunes. And they said basically she kind of squatted there, right? I mean, it wasn't like she had a home and like an address. She squatted in an old fisherman's shack. Okay, what was the highlight in the dunes for you? It's probably the same highlight for me.
What?
The World's Fair homes. 1933 World's Fair had 12 homes that were called, it was an exhibition. It was called Homes of Tomorrow. And they put 5 of them, a developer whose name I can't recall at the moment, put 5 of these homes on a barge, basically on different barges, and sent them across to live in Indiana on the shore of Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
And they're basically there to preserve them, right? I mean, I think they were well built and interesting looking. And somebody said, what are you going to do with all these? And they said, we're going to tear them down. And there was a developer who said, well, can I have 5 of them? And he put them on a barge and shipped them over. And it's probably the #1 tourist attraction in the national park because these homes are actually in the Indiana Dunes National Park.
And leased to people who they don't pay, but they have to maintain the house, which...
So they don't pay to buy the house, basically? Or they don't pay rent or anything?
No.
They're there and they're the keepers of it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Want to wear something that's going to support your favorite show? Shop at Main Street Store. Proceeds go to help us get next season into production. So come on, go shopping at mainstreets.tv.
Urschel, that was a neat company.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that, first of all, it's an industry that you don't even think exists if you're not in it. You know what I mean? When's the last time you thought about slicing equipment?
Never. Never. Even though I certainly enjoy everything that's sliced.
It is an international manufacturer of
Slicers, dicers, cubers, they anything that has to be sliced in the food industry.
and you got to slice some stuff.
Well, I poured a bucket of tomatoes into the slicer.
And the first time you poured that bucket in, Jason was watching you pour the stuff in, and it shoots right out the other end. I mean, it is so fast that by the time your bucket's empty, it really is at the same moment done, right? So you're pouring this stuff in, and I could see what was happening. And I'm tapping Jason on the shoulder like, come on, come on. And by the time he was able to pull out to the wide shot, it was done. I was like,
Finished.
Dang it, we missed it. And the guy standing behind me was like, yeah, it's really fast. I'm like, oh, I guess it is.
I also love the Riley's Rail House.
That was, would you stay there?
So
it's an Airbnb,
yeah,
right?
Well, sure, it would. It was a freight. It's freight station.
No, a train depot.
A train depot, but it was for freight. Did you know that? It wasn't a passenger train station.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't hear him say that. It's got a wonderful big fireplace in there. Oh, yeah, because you said you could come pick up your stuff from there, right?
Yeah.
Got
and
it.
ship it out of there.
Oh, yeah.
And so he had a room in there, but then he also had rooms on boxcars and cabooses.
One room
in here,
2 in the boxcar.
2 in the boxcar, and then inside the main building we have 2 rooms, one on the first floor and one on the second floor.
Who's your guest? Who shows up here?
More, as the years go on, it's more and more rail fans, because once the rail fans find out about this for rail watching, this is a really good spot for them.
Chesterton Brewery was another place that we went. That was a good story, John.
Yeah, I was a Marine veteran who opened up a brewery, and he's opening up a distillery as well. And it's Veterans Brewing for Veterans. Is that what's on? That's his mission?
Yeah.
He
They do
gives
a lot of good.
back. And he has a nice operation and a great space.
Yeah. The thing about the dunes for me was I know what dunes are made out of, but I was not prepared for all of the sand that came back to me with me to my hotel room. was like, oh my gosh. I felt like I had sand everywhere. Like, in my carpet. I was like, oh no, I forgot to dump my shoes out. Or I would go on the balcony thing and smack them together. And you felt it like always. How did I get all this sand on me? I guess it just gets into everything. But do you remember Ranger Bruce, who said, something about shaking our shoes out? And he said, if all the years I've worked here, if I wouldn't have shaken my shoes out before I leave work, I would now have a dune in my backyard of my own.
He was a good guy.
Really
Two
good.
of the Rangers we talked to, Bruce and Joe.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Indiana Dunes Learning Center. It has a really good mission. And it's residential camps. Like kids come for a week. And
No, 2 nights.
Oh, 2 nights, but it's open for the whole week.
3 days.
Right? Oh, yeah.
So they have 2 nights, 3 days, and then the next day they clean it and they start it again.
Whew, that's a long summer, but they do a lot of good work there, I think. What's their mission, John?
Nature and children and nature.
Oh, right. That was on their things. Nature needs kids. Kids need nature. That's good.
Yeah. So it's really about them getting out. They take a 6.5-hour hike from the camp.
Well, the day we were there, they were doing art.
They were.
The theme of the week was birds. And why birds in the dunes?
Because it's great birding in the dunes.
Right. He said, Bruce said that it's in the migratory pattern because birds come down the shore of Lake Michigan. And so they will stop there before they go further south or before they go further north. So it's in that migratory pattern, and 300 and some species have been documented in the dunes, in the Indiana dunes, yeah. And all I could think of was, I wish we had your friend Gino Salomon with us.
No, we'd still be there. So he can go by himself.
Gino, go by yourself.
Kind of clear.
You know what they had a ton of?
What?
Trains.
Well, Chesterton has 83 trains a day that come through there. And on the weekends, it's more.
So that's got to be why it's a smaller town, because you just can't have that many people living there who can't cross the street 83 times a day.
Right.
The traffic stacks up and you're like, oh my gosh. We did do my favorite stand-up there that I lost it in the dunes. We did do the singing sand. The singing sand, where John, you're down on one knee and you've got this sand pouring through your hands, and then you would stop and wipe your hands off, and then you would do it again, wipe your hands off. And I thought, we might never get this out of him because he doesn't like his hands to be dirty. You did this one about the singing sands. The only other place they sing is in Dubai and Japan. And then you said, listen, and then you pretended you were listening to the sands.
I hate this song.
He throws it down and goes, I hate this song, and I did not see that coming. I just lost it. I was like, oh my God, that's funny. I think the dunes area in Indiana seems like a place that you go if you're active in the outdoors. I bet you would have just a time of your life there, because there is hiking and biking and, walking and all kind of things you could observe there. You could do the birds, you could do the nature, all those ecosystems they talked about. There's like 5 ecosystems in the dunes.
Yeah.
Is that a lie, or did I make that up, or is that true? 5 or 3?
No, I don't think you're making it up.
Yeah, a lot of different nature to absorb there, and then you can go into the towns and enjoy your stay.
If you like outdoors, if you like to camp, if you like to spend, I would call it roughing it. But that may just be me. It's very outdoorsy.
Curious to find out where John is traveling next? Head over to our website, mainstreets.tv, to learn more. Again, that's mainstreets.tv. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast, and please leave us a review. That helps more people discover great programming like Main Streets. Look for us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram to follow all the action. John McGivern's Main Streets is produced by Plum Media in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Thanks for listening.